There's a new study out showing an alarming rise in cancer rates, specifically among younger age groups.
It shows cases are trending upwards in 30 to 39-year-olds, but an oncologist at Banner Health says this is a generational outcome. And so Elena is joining us live from Phoenix with more on what this is all about. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Well, this study accounted for patients that were registered between 2010 and 2019. And not only did researchers find that more people under the age of 50 were developing early onset forms of cancer, but out of the over 500,000 patients that were registered during that time period, researchers found that gastrointestinal cancers became the fastest growing incident rates in early onset cancer groups. This includes colon and pancreatic cancers, and according to Dr. Kundranda, an oncologist who specializes in gastrointestinal cancers at Banner Health, says this age group primarily grew up during a time where childhood obesity was a major problem. This is due to unhealthy lifestyle habits. Now, of course, he did mention that this is not the only cause for cancers, but he emphasized that it is definitely a risk factor, and he does touch on that having a healthy diet and exercise routine can really make the difference in decreasing the incidence of early onset forms of cancers. That includes decreasing alcohol consumption and just being mindful of what goes into your body. He also says knowing symptoms to look out for ahead of time and just being transparent overall helps lead to early detection.
Gastrointestinal cancers, rectal bleeding. Most patients, even the older patients, report to me and say, hey, I thought it was hemorrhoids, right? And it was constipation that was causing hemorrhoids, and that's why I was having this rectal bleeding. But these are symptoms that can be detected early. Does every patient that has rectal bleeding need a colonoscopy? Probably not. But they definitely need to be evaluated by a healthcare professional.
If you have problems swallowing, have some sort of abdominal pain, or you're unintentionally losing weight and develop a loss of appetite, and that becomes persistent or it gets worse, Dr. Kundranda says those symptoms are worth getting evaluated on, because he has seen time and time again, not only through his practice, but through other professionals, that they meet patients that come in way after the fact, their symptoms of developing. So he says there is this mindset of sometimes brushing it off, or the getting to it later mindset when it comes to our health, especially in the age groups that they're seeing are being affected, by this. So at 7, I'm going to dive into that a little bit more and talk about, why it is so crucial to act on those symptoms now and to take it into consideration. Back to you.
Yeah, everybody hates cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elena.